Captain Winters, Easy Company, 101st Airborne. If you're anything like me, these words trigger an emotional response stronger than what I imagine it's like meeting your firstborn child for the first time, and take me back to a simpler time in my life when I watched Band of Brothers for the first time and rode alongside the men of Easy Company from England to the heart of Germany. But what if I told you that there was a Band of Brothers game? One that opens each mission with a jump into the unknown, tackling the battlefields of Europe, from Italy to Essen. Non-linear levels that allow you to land wherever you want, link up with your friendlies, and tackle the mission's objectives in any order. I mean, there isn't. But there's one that gets pretty bloody close. Medal of Honor Airborne. Released in 2007, a time where you couldn't so much as walk down the street without tripping over a new World War II title. Now, we may look fondly back on those times now, surrounded by modern shooters with questionable theming choices. But back then, people were sick of storming the beaches of Normandy. They were tired of battling the Wehrmacht. And it was also during this time that a little shooter you may have heard of came out that changed everything. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Just a quick little message here to say that the support on the last couple of videos has been insane, and I just really, really appreciate it. I've already grown bigger than I ever thought I would. I know I've only got like 300 subscribers, but I appreciate it. If you like this video, hit the subscribe, and I love you. Medal of Honor Airborne is all about immersing you in the experience of being an airborne trooper, and it does this by putting you in the shoes of Boyd Travers of the 82nd Airborne Division. You start with Travers on his first training jumps in Africa, earning his jump wings. Yo! You start each mission in the briefing tent with the rest of your unit. And of course, each mission starts with you hunkered down in the back of a C-47, ready to throw yourself out into the unknown. And these airborne drops never get old. Sometimes you're under heavy fire coming into the drop zone with your bird barely staying in the air. Other times, little situations play out before the drop, like your mate getting wounded in the seat across from you, but still deciding to make the drop anyway.
Jumping with you guys.
So brave. Every time, though, the moment you leave the plane feels special. It's all chaos and sounds and building and building and building and building. Then as you throw yourself out into the abyss, nothing. After taking in the sights, you have to spot your landing point, hit the ground hard, pull out your weapon, find your mates, as the chaos breaks out around you.
Just get 'em, boys.
When I was a young Band of Brothers obsessed teen, this game meant so much to me. I couldn't afford the full version, so I just played the demo, which was the first mission, over and over and over again. When I eventually got my hands on the full game, my expectations came crashing down harder than Boyd Travers when he makes a botched landing.
Botch landing my ass.
You're into clearing?
You know, I quickly realized that every subsequent level felt basically identical to that first one. Sure, the map and like the atmosphere changed, but the gameplay loop was always the same. You parachute out of a plane. Epic. Link up with your friendlies. Sick. Fight endless, mildly brain-dead or ridiculously OP AI. Okay. Oh, I have to plant a charge on another black gun? Ah, more electronics to shoot. Sure, Sergeant. Now, not all of the game's objectives are constantly repeated. Like, each mission does have some unique objectives. Like this one mission where you come under fire from a tank. So you're sent on a scavenger hunt running around the area under fire from the tank to assemble a recoilless rifle to take the tank out. Now, I'm no military historian or logistics coordinator, but surely they could have just dropped it off in one piece? I'm not saying the fact that most of the game's missions follow the same formula is necessarily a bad thing. If you like the game's gameplay loop, then you'll be in heaven. But there are some design decisions, questionable ones, that can make things feel like a bit of a chore sometimes.
No! Oh, Billy Bob! Billy Bob, come back to me, boy.
Like when you aim down the sights, your movement keys suddenly become lean keys. Like, and don't get me wrong, I love leaning as much as the next guy. But it means when you aim down the sights, you just suddenly stop still and lose all momentum. The AI are either ultra sharp squad-based killing machines, or they just run up to you and bonk you like Doodle Bob.
Here's your present!
And quite often, once you've completed the first set of objectives on a map, they'll just repopulate another part of the map that you've already cleared, send you back there and be like, oh hey, remember the place where you blew up all the flak guns? Oh yeah, now there's a bunch of German officers that you need to kill. And it kind of just feels like they're undoing all of your hard work. There's also no real story, so when you're like trudging through these sometimes tedious objectives, the lack of stakes or story beats or characters that you care about can just make it feel all the more tedious and painful. It's not all bad though. Like the shooting can be really fun, and there's a whole litany of satisfying weapons to use, like the Kar 98K, Game 1 Garand, MP40, Thompson. The game also has like a rudimentary weapon upgrade system, so as you kill enemies, you unlock attachments for your guns. And obviously, like the airdrops are just done so beautifully that no game has been able to replicate anything like it. It's so cinematic and it's so immersive. And I mean, for a game from 2007, look at it. And given this is 2007, it's important to acknowledge the camouflaged, holographic-sighted M4 holding elephant in the room. Call of Duty 4.
Ready up.
Released in the same year as Medal of Honor Airborne, it is no secret how that game revolutionized the shooter industry, with its insanely immersive campaign, ridiculously slick gunplay, and just titanic multiplayer experience. Medal of Honor Airborne is like David to Call of Duty 4's Goliath, but a version of the story where Goliath beats the shit out of David like the stupid little nerd he is. Despite all this, I still love Medal of Honor Airborne, and that's because no matter how tedious it can sometimes feel or how rough around the edges it is, it provides you with an experience, the airdrops jumping out of the planes into the fire, that no other game that's come out since has been able to replicate. You know, that feeling of raining down on the enemy from above like a legit airborne trooper, like Band of Brothers type shit, Easy Company, Captain Winners, Shifty, Picante, Buck, over and over and over again. This isn't a masterpiece, but is it a wholly unique shooter that anyone with a passing interest in World War II games should give a go? Yeah. On Game Pass. Like 5 gigabytes. Got no excuse. Go. Play it. Oh, you still here? You want to subscribe? Okay, just click the button down there. Yep. Alright. I gotta go, but I love you.
So sick. Starts off as friendly fire. Yeah, historically accurate. Go, go, go! Oh, he's dead! Boys. Oh, cake landing. Oh, there's Germans.